Southern shit. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 2 of 5 Deep, a podcast where 5 of us from around the globe get together and talk about, well, sorting our goals out through accountability, holding ourselves accountable. That's probably the right thing to say. But thank you very much for listening to the episode last week, episode 1. Thank you very much for your support. It was awesome. And it's great to be back. And thank you very much for downloading this episode. This episode is called Into the Wild. And it was thought up by Lee. And it's linked to the linked to the movie Into the Wild. Have I got that right, Lee? I haven't, have I? No. Go on. Did you want to say it?
I've got the episode title is Into the Deep.
Into the Deep, yeah.
Which is a spin-off of the title Into the Wild. And I think the synopsis that I put in the Voxer group. Yeah. In the show notes, with a little bit of extra, sort of ties in nicely to what we're talking about this week.
And can you remember what you wrote down, or would you like me to read it out?
You carry on as the host. I will leave that to you, my friend.
Right after graduating from Emory University, I think that's how you pronounce it, top student and athlete Christopher McCandless abandoned his possessions. Sorry, my reading's terrible. Abandoned his possessions, gave up his entire $24,000 savings, gave it away to charity, and hitchhiked to Alaska to live in the wilderness. Along the way, Christopher encountered a series of characters that shaped his life. And on this episode, we dig deeper into the stories of our lives and discover what motivates us and why we are on our journey. Boom. There, finally got it out. So that's what this episode is about. Thank you very much for joining us. Have we all had a fantastic week? Howard, you can go first because you've got your hand up. You're being very polite there, sir. Over to you in the International Space Station.
First of all, thank you. Coming from the ISS, this episode is brought to you by Howard's Blend.
Plant-based protein.
You have to get it in.
With 20 grams of plant-based protein to help fuel your day. Just if you're on Instagram at Howard's Blend, you can send me a DM and I will be happy to take care of the transaction and get you some. Also, just to make sure
this.
No. Making sure Mark, is it recording on Skype?
Yeah, we're recording. Okay. You know, we've been going live there, Howard. Go on, carry on. You've got the show. Carry on, mate.
Well, no, it says it was recording, and then all of a sudden it doesn't show it's recording anymore. So I just wanted to make sure it was still recording. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. And anything else you want to say? Any shout outs to family or friends while we're here, Howard? Or do you anything you want to say?
Shout out to Samuelito. He's over here, so you'll probably hear him screaming once in a while.
Hi, Sammy.
Sam.
He's busy watching cartoons, and he's discovered that he can draw crayons on the walls and ruin the paint.
It reminds me of when I was babysitting many years ago for my next door neighbour, and they went away and the kids were upstairs playing. And anyway, when Jerry and his wife came home, Julia, they went upstairs to see the kids, and they had drawn 2 big willies on the wall with crayons, and I didn't even notice. So you've got to be careful what they draw on the walls there, Howard.
Yes, you'll be soon writing lyrics to Snoop Dogg songs on the wall, and that'd be dangerous.
Any particular song?
And then I'll find out one of you all has gotten him into that music then.
Yeah. Nothing the matter with that, though. Nothing the matter with that. How's your week been there, Rodney?
Nothing at all.
It's been pretty good, man. A really productive week in the gym and a productive week with work. I'm extremely tired. I worked 14 hours on Saturday, and then yesterday 16 hours, and then I'll go when we're done here, I'm going back to work for another 14 hours. So I've been very productive.
Yeah, you have. Can I just ask a question there, Rodney? Last week, when we was going over our goals for February, did you set yourself a goal for February?
Yeah, I said I was going to work out 6 days a week.
I can't recall it, but I just wanted to check there because I didn't want you to be left out. You know, between you and Howard last week, you was keep cutting out and disappearing and stuff like that. So just wanted to make sure that you was there. I didn't want you to feel left out.
Yeah, no, so if my camera goes off, for whatever reason, it just, if I turn my camera off for whatever reason, it just removes me from the Skype, but I can hear and I can still contribute. But yeah, I said, I don't know if you remember, I said I'm gonna work out 6 days a week and possibly the 7th, because when I get in the groove, I'll be antsy and I won't be,
Sweet. Okay. Forgive me. Lee, what was your week like? You've had a great week, haven't you? I know you're feeling really positive at the minute.
Yeah, I've had a fucking epic week, mate. Epic.
Yeah.
Closed all my rings. My rings are nice and tightly closed, which is awesome.
Sucks, people.
Yeah. Yeah,
and love really a good closed ring.
Yeah, and really building some really good foundation for the coaching business that I'm trying to get off the ground. But starting some amazing conversations on Facebook. I managed to get three coaching calls on the go. So
what? Good job,
winner chicken dinner, man.
Yeah,
sweet,
man.
Sweet. How about you, Miss Bliss? Lady Bliss. That's what we should call you. Not Sister Bliss, but Lady Bliss. What about your week? Have you had a good one?
I had a great week. I've gotten a lot of shit accomplished. I mean, the content that is being downloaded into my brain every day is like, everybody keeps saying, God, you're doing this and you're doing that. You have a lot of irons in the fire. But to be quite honest with you, I don't really feel like it's enjoyable. Kind of like what we were talking about on Voxer today. Like, I'm finding it very enjoyable. Just, I guess the more I grow, the more the outside noise is not limiting me to not being able to work on my goals. So me just being autonomous and being single and just living my life the way I'm living my life, I've got a lot of time to put forward towards my goals. And so all of these things that have been very important to me for 10 years or more, like the children's book or, podcasting or exercising, whatever it is, it's just now kind of had an ability to flourish because of the way I'm showing up for my life. So I've been just feeling really fucking productive.
Sweet.
So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I've had a fantastic week as well, to be honest with you. Today, I jumped on the scales. I've reached my goal for February, actually. Was it for February? I can't remember. I set myself a goal, and it was to get down to lose a stone. I've reached the stone, which is 14 pounds for you fellow Americans. So in 3.5 weeks, I've done 14 pounds. So I'm really, really pleased with that. And
that's amazing.
A lot more weight to come. A lot
more
weight to go. I've had a bit of a hiccup today, and I think at some point during the show we'll have a little bit of a talk about that. A few things that went on behind the scenes, which is, I want to talk about it because it's what we show up for, and that's why we're here. So I'll share that with you guys in a minute. But the name of the name of the title of this podcast this week, as we've said, is called Into the Deep, from the film Into the Wild. Has anybody seen that film before we start? Now, you know my answer. Has anybody?
No. What do you call him, Lee? Mr. No Films?
Mr. No Film.
Yeah, I struggle with films. I don't watch many films. But has anybody in the group actually seen this film at all?
Yeah, it's great. It's one to watch, Mark. It's really good. It's based on a true story as well, just in case you were wondering. Yeah.
Right. So it kind of ties in very, very well to this week. We're going to be talking about our whys. And this is something that we do quite regularly. I mean, I think it's something that we should be doing, asking ourselves all the time, to be honest with you. Why are we doing this? Why are we showing up? Why are we, why are we alive? Anything. What's our purpose? Yeah. So I'm going to chuck the question at Harmony first of all, and I'm going to just say to you, Harmony, why do we show up and do podcasts, and why do we show up and do the things that we do in our everyday life as you personally and as a group? Why do we do this rather than just going home after work and just sitting there and watching Netflix?
Well, my quick answer is because I wasn't doing it for so long. Like, I was working really hard, but I would come home from work and it was because of the sadness that was brewing underneath my brewing in my soul since I was tiny. But I would go to work and I would work hard every day. And then I would come home. You guys all know the story. And I would drink. I would turn on music and I would drink and I'd smoke and I'd have a little personal private party. And then I'd, get drunk usually. And I would climb in bed and I'd go do it all again the next day. And I just, quite frankly, to answer your question, the short form version, I was sick of my bullshit. When you do things, and you guys all have experienced it to the degree we're at right now in our growth, when you're not showing up for yourself, you feel it. It makes you feel sad. It feels icky. Like I don't know how to best describe it. And I think it could be something as minor as you saying to yourself, I'm going to go work out after work tomorrow. And then you catch yourself, here comes the time, you're at the fork in the road, it's after work tomorrow, and you choose to sit on the couch and watch TV and eat a bag of chips or crisps instead of going for the movement that you intended on doing. And it feels bad. There's an immense amount of guilt and shame that goes along with that. And I feel like in showing up for yourself, you're basically empowering yourself to eliminate that guilt and shame. And you're showing up for the things that you've probably always wanted to do and the things that you've always wanted to accomplish, but for whatever reason it wasn't your time, you weren't ready yet. So you guys have heard me say too, and I'll let somebody else talk, but my confidence has been built every single time that I say I'm going to do something and I actually put my money where my mouth is and I show up for it. That's where the confidence that I have today has been built over the last several years, because I think for a lifetime, I had an idea of the person I wanted to be and I knew that she was in there somewhere. I just didn't have an ability to bring her out for whatever reason. So now I've just gotten sick of my bullshit and I started showing up. And if I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And unless there's a really good extenuating circumstances, there's nothing that I'm not going to show up for every day. And I think that for me, my whys and why I show up for this accountability group every Monday is because I lived my entire life not showing up. And I'm sick of it. I got sick of it. And now I just wanted to be not only an inspiration to myself, but an inspiration for the people that I get to rub elbows with every day.
Howard, why do you show up, mate? Why are you here with us this afternoon, this evening, wherever you are in the world? You know, why are you here? Why do you want to be part of this union? And you know, why are you showing up, mate?
Yeah, so I talked about it some last week in that you guys in terms of like on the daily basis, like I needed to include that from last week. On a daily basis, I can throw out ideas and then get your feedback on either positive or negative. You know, I don't get that at home. So I like it for the support, you know, and then also from what I said last week, it's also in the name, accountability. So you all know I procrastinated for over 10 years on creating the supplement. So I kind of feel that I would probably still be procrastinating if I, didn't have you guys. And then Sam over there, he's my accountability as well. So that's why it's basically, I like getting the feedback, either positive or negative. And then I like the ass kicking, you know, and that's a benefit too, to get, kick you in the behind. Like, what the hell are you doing? As Harmony says, and my mother and grandmother have said, shit or get off the pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I got it from my grandma too.
I've never heard it before. But Lee, what about you, mate? Why are you here? Why are you showing up for yourself each day?
My root cause, what's the word? My big bang, let's say, was when I was 15 at school. And this is very long. I'll try and keep this as short as I possibly can because, I go on a bit, checking into Voxer about 6 times in the morning. But I was doing careers advice or guidance counselor, whatever you call it in America. And I sat in the room and the woman said to me, "What is it you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh my God, big bright eyes. The world's in front of me. I really want to be a firefighter." And she was like, "Perhaps we should find something a bit more realistic." And what does that do to a 15-year-old kid? It crushes their spirit. And I never really recovered from that. And I spent a lot of my youth growing, my youth and young adulthood growing up being told I couldn't do something, or there was this air of restriction around my abilities. And for a long time, I grew up with long-term depression. Let's bring the story forward. 3 years ago, realized that I had long-term depression. I was diagnosed with it. I was on antidepressants, and I was like, no, I'm not going down this road. I can't go on antidepressants and rely on this and think that makes it all right. It doesn't. So I fixed it with my mindset. I changed it. I was listening to podcasts, reading books, watching as many fucking Tony Robbins videos as I could finally get my hands on. And a couple of weeks before Christmas, I was watching an incredible Tony Robbins show on Netflix, and it was almost like the curtains opened. The opening night of the show, the lights were on me, and I cried like a bitch, because in one sentence that Tony said to somebody, it just, everything come crashing. Like, it was just a massive download into my brain. I was like, oh my God, I know the problem. I've got this victim mentality. I think I'm not good enough. My mindset is crap. Let's fucking fix it. I joined this group, and I let my depression get the better of me, and I left it again, came back, and you guys were gracious enough to allow me to come back in the group. And I fought and fought and fought. And it's been hard. It's been really hard, but I fought and fought and fought. And I am now so far ahead of where I used to be.
Great.
And I said it this morning on the Voxer group. It's you fuckers that have held me in there, that kept pushing me, that kept giving me the motivation to keep going. And the reason why I'm doing it is because there are millions and millions of people out there that are just like me, that feel like they're not good enough. They are 40 with a couple of kids, car payment, mortgage. Fuck, my life's over. I can't do anything. I can't change anything. I can't change my career. Yes, you can. And it all starts up here. So that's why I'm here, because I want to help as many people as I can to show them you're not done. You're just fucking starting.
That's beautiful. That's
Can
beautiful.
I say something really quick? I just wanted to give you some, because I left a check-in this morning on Voxer, but I want to say two things to you, Lee. One, I cried like a little bitch too when I watched that Tony Robbins. And also I cried like a little bitch today when I was listening to your check-in about you smiling. Like, my heart filled up just knowing that the kind of magic that's created in this group, and you feeling supported, and just picturing you smiling because you're showing up for yourself. Awesome. So happy for you.
Well done, man. I think that the reason why you were smiling so much is because you got a slight concussion from walking into a telegraph pole last night.
Could have been. I didn't really want to mention that on this show.
Tough shit. I've just done it, mate. Just done it. Rodney, how about you, mate? Why are you showing up for us?
So for me, it was, everything kind of came to a head when I started to look in the mirror and see that I was the common denominator. I'm always waking up sluggish. I'm always tired. My behavior is not that good. I'm not treating people well. Financially, I'm not where I wanted to be. And, it's not much more that I could say, because the first three guys that talked kind of summed it up. But I would say that, once I got tired of being tired, I started to look for ways to be productive, and finding the group, finding like-minded people who from all different parts of the world was very important for me. I needed to hear. I did not want to be in an echo chamber per se, but I did want to hear people with different opinions that are looking for the same type of things. That's we all want to be validated. We all want to feel good. We all want to be productive. You want to feel like we're accomplishing things, and you can put all the excuses you want to have in front of you and try to figure out, well, this person said this or this person did that. But once you get it in your mind that you can control more of your outcome than you thought you can, that's what, for me, that's what I was trying to figure that out. And once I discovered that, or once I was more enlightened to that, it just made me say, okay, I want to keep doing this. I'm the common denominator, and so I got to figure it out. But guess what? I got 4 other people around me that can help me, and that instant feedback, like Howard was talking about. We drop a message in Voxer, and you expect to hear from the next person. We address each issue. We hold each other's feet to the fire. We push back when we need to, and mostly Harmony. Harmony does most of the pushing back, but so that's definitely why I'm here.
Mexican ball buster. I love it.
Well, for me personally, the reason why I show up is But like the incident that happened there today, and
you're killing me, Smalls. Like, let's just say it.
It really did kind of upset me, to be honest, because I'm one of these people. I've always been in my community the jester. I've always been the one that goes out and makes a fool of myself and says the silly things and does the stupid things and goes out on the piss and tries climbing scaffolding and doing the Olympic bar things on the scaffolding and falling off and nearly breaking my back. I've always been that sort of person, and I've always told people what I think. I've always said what I feel, and sometimes along the way it can offend people, and I've tried to rein myself in from being this sort of person over the last couple of years, but occasionally, growing up, I'm 44, and I tend to do and say things that my parents' age people would do, and sometimes it can be wrong. And today there was a member of my community, and I sent them a message in DM, and what I said to them offended them. And as a result, they kicked off, they started having a go. And, what I said, right, I look back on it now and I deem it to be offensive. And I don't want to go into what I said, but what I said, I can now see it as being a tad offensive, but I didn't mean it to be offensive. Anybody that knew me and I was to say it, they would know that it wasn't offensive. It was just me being me, and they kind of like took it the wrong way. And no matter how much I said, no, look, that's not what I meant. It was said and it was done and it offended them. And, when that sort of thing happens, you've just got to say, look, I apologise. And while they're ranting and raving at you and calling you all the names under the sun, you've just got to kind of say, I'm sorry. I'm not going to say anything more, because no matter what you say, it digs you in a deeper hole. I know deep down inside what I said and what I meant was the same way as they perceived it to be, but I respect their views, and because of that, I've had to basically lose a member of my community today, and that it kind of upset me because, I didn't want that to happen. They were a nice person, and I didn't want them to to think of me as the person they perceive me to be. So the reason why I show up is because I am somebody that loves to talk to people. I love to communicate with people. I have ever since I was 13 on the old CB radio. I've always talked to people. And at the same time, I make cock-ups. I make mistakes like every single one of us does. And the reason why I show up is to better myself as a human being through talking to people and making my mistakes that I make in life, correcting them from other people's knowledge. That's the reason why I show up.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Mark.
Yeah, it was a hard day. It was a really, really hard day and an upsetting day. And, I want to leave it at that, to be honest with you, because, it all blew up. And I just sat there this afternoon and I just thought, why? I asked myself that question, why? Why do I show up? Because sometimes, you can't do right for wrong. And that's where I'd like to lead on to next with you, Harmony, is, when you do these things and people take it the wrong way, and you must have been in that situation where you say, why do I bother? What gets you through? When you're feeling like that, why do you bother? Because you could be just quite simple, just to turn the computer off, stick your head under the sand and ignore that the shit's ever gone on. But why do you continue to show up?
I have a real true belief that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be at any given moment. I really, really do. And I can look back on all the things and ask why. I could look back on all the things and ask, why'd this bad thing happen to me? And, but at the end of the day, what matters is right now, today, and moving forward, and the acceptance of the fact that I am human and I am going to fuck up, and that I do give myself grace when it comes to me, because I'm a fledgling person. I mean, quite frankly, I am 46 years old, but I also haven't really been paying close attention to who Harmony is until the last couple of years. So I've been kind of on autopilot my whole life. And I'm going to trip and fall, and I'm going to do stupid shit, and I'm going to make mistakes. I've made them in the past, and I'm going to make them in the future. And just an understanding of that, and not making myself like putting a lot of pressure on myself, like I have to be perfect. And then also understanding and respecting the fact that not everybody's going to think the way that I do, and not everybody's going to like me, and not everybody's going to like my approach. And there's going to be people that are going to question that. But I have to trust the fact that the people that are meant to be in my life and in my circle, and the people that are going to be like-minded, and the chosen few that I will help, are meant to be in my life. I can't help everybody. I can't get everybody to like me. I'm not going to, there's going to be people out there that I offend, but just to understand that that's okay. And that's just a part of it. It goes with the territory. And I know you well enough, and I've known you for 2 years now at this point, and I know what a great human you are, and what a caring, loving, respectful person you are. So you just kind of got to look at that situation as something to learn from.
Yeah.
And you have.
Yeah, definitely.
Because you've shown that just even by bringing it up today, that it obviously hurt your feelings. The last thing I know about Mark Jeffrey is that he would want to hurt somebody's feelings. So you've taken that situation, you've learned from it, and you're going to move forward tomorrow. That's all you can do.
And I mean, like I say, I've done some stupid things in the past, things where I've fallen out with my family, things where I've fallen out with my other half. Sometimes, my children haven't wanted to speak to me for 2 or 3 hours. But all you can do at the end of the day, right, is go to that person, put your hand up and say, look, I apologise. Whether you believe what I'm saying or not, I, hand on heart, apologise. And I think that you can generally tell from a person that is honest. There's a difference between somebody that, is a horrible, nasty person saying, oh yes, well, I'm sorry. And somebody that's like generally did do a mistake and say they're sorry. We all make mistakes. And I think that, holding yourself accountable and standing up in front of a courtroom or whatnot and saying, look, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. It's if you continue to fuck up and do the same thing, that's what's the difference between making you a good un and a wrong un.
Yep.
Anything to say on that one, Lee?
I think Harmony summed it up pretty well. But straight away, I was like, my mind went to, well, what kind of person is this person to decide? Because we all decide if we want to be offended by something. So I straight away went, maybe this guy or girl needs to do some inner work. Maybe there's some revelations they need to come across. But yeah. I accept that. But what the route that I'm looking down is if they think that I've done something wrong, it's for me to then look at myself and say, right, did I do something wrong? Yes or no? That's for me to make the decision. I've said, yes, I possibly did. Yes, I did. Right. But was it me doing that deliberate, or was it something that was misinterpreted? Right. And if it was something that was deliberate, then fair enough. But if it was something where somebody misinterpreted what you said, then that's different again. But what you've got to realise is you did hurt that person's feelings, or you did offend that person. And I'm not going to flick the coin back over to me and say, whoa, you're bullying me, you're picking on me, because at the end of the day, they're the person that feels they've been offended. And through my respect, I'm going to say, right, okay, I apologise, I step back, either you accept my apology, or it's too late. There's nothing more I can physically do. And I'm not, I was in the wrong. I've put my hands up, and there's nothing more that you can do. I'm not going to sit there for 20, 30 days and think, I've done, because that's what can happen. And I've seen so many people that I know that have gone down that slippery slope of making mistakes and just never getting over it. So,
okay. So I got to say, as much as I hate, with the passion of 10 men, the statement, this is the place it applies. It is what it is.
Don't say it.
Why not, Lee? What's the matter with it is what it is?
No, I hate it too. I get it.
Because things are what they. Obviously, if it's in your control, you have to learn to control the things that you can control, and accept that you can't control other things. So It isn't what it is. It is what you make it, and it's also how if something that does happen outside your control, it's up to you how you want to receive that. So in your example, it's up to that person to decide how they want to receive it. But I don't know if this applies, and maybe somebody can take something away from it who's listening to this. I've recently learned that, and I'm going to, this is kind of applicable because it's not really an argument between you two, but it kind of could have been. But whenever you have an argument, the moment you start an argument with somebody or somebody starts an argument, it's a race to the victim position. But what people need to realize is, in that situation, that argument or that debate or that whatever it is, there is 200% of blame to be given. Not 100%, because then it's a fight to who gets most blame. So whenever, let's say, me or you argue, Mark, there's me and you, we have to take 100% of that blame each. Take 100% of the responsibility for the cause and the solution of the argument. I don't know if that applies. It kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to get that out there because I think it's valuable for somebody to learn something from. So when you next have an argument with your missus or your better half or whatever, don't go straight for the victim position. Oh no, it's your fault because you do this and you do this, and then just stand back and go, look, we are both to blame here. There's two people. There's 200% of blame to be given out. Let's accept our 100% and move on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and basically what Lee's talking about is just removal of the ego. I mean, the ego serves a big purpose for us in a lot of ways, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. But I think you removed your ego. You showed a perfect example of your growth by removing your ego and just apologizing instead of trying to be like, I didn't mean it. What's your problem? Why are you triggered? You just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by it. And you proved that you've grown by doing that, Mark. I think that the way that you handled it was stellar, to be quite honest.
Anyway, moving on. Howard, why have we set this group up? Why have we set this podcast up? Why haven't we just kept it as our Monday night accountability? Why have we decided to set this group up?
Well, I think part of it is we wanted to change for 2022. We wanted something different. Through the past, 2 years, just shy of 2 years that I've been a member of this group, there's been, almost seems like an infinite number of like gems that we've all given to each other, knowledge and experience. And it's like, in a way you could think it's kind of selfish for us to keep it all to ourselves. Let's hand it out and see what people benefit. There's people that are going to benefit from what Lee's going through, what Harmony's going through, you, Rodney, myself. And, so it's just, let's put it out into the onto the interwebs and see if it resonates with people. And then, so this is all what it's for. It's putting our experience out there for anybody watching this or listening to this. Their benefit. You got a cumulative altogether. Mark's 44, Harmony's 25 over here. Lee looks like not a day over 60.
Cheeky fucker, listen to him, look.
Rodney's
the same here all week.
We see who his favorite is.
Rodney still has no wrinkles. He's just ageless.
Like Master Yoda, isn't he?
48.
And then me, I'm
look so good you will not.
45. Feel like I'm going on 90. But there's just a lot of experience here that we can provide to everybody. So that's why I think we've talked about this for I don't know how long, like putting it out here on a podcast, and now we're just finally taking the leap. It's like we all talked about. Shit or get off the pot. Let's just go ahead and do it. What better time? No better time to start than now.
And I think it's like we discussed last week, isn't it? That, it comes to a stage where there's 5 of us in this group, but what about the rest of the world? I mean, I don't know how many people are in the world, off the top of my head. Does anybody know how many people are in the world? No?
8 billion.
8
billion.
1 million people. Well, let's just say 1 billion people, just off the top of head. Why hold ourselves accountable to 5 people when we can hold it to possibly 1 billion people, and all show up in front of the world, bare our asses to the world.
Yeah. And just the thought that somebody's sitting out there, it's one thing to stumble upon, individually, we all do podcasts. So it's one thing for somebody to stumble upon one of the podcasts that we've done. It's another thing for them to stumble upon the 5 Deep podcast where there's 5 of us showing up, but it's a whole other open to possibilities for them to show up for the YouTube where they can see us. They can see that we're all very different. They can see that we're all from around the globe, and they can hear us being vulnerable. Like Lee was talking about his dealings with depression and things like that. Like, you don't know who we could help. Somebody's just up at 3:00 in the morning, flipping through YouTube and happens to stumble upon our video, and we entertain them for an hour and then maybe also give them some hope. Like, to me, that's the driving force behind doing this particular podcast with you guys, is the possibility of helping somebody out there that is feeling very frustrated, alone, hopeless, and they're trying to figure out their whys, you know? So could you imagine the potential that it's got if we stick with this and do this over a long period of time?
Yeah. What, going around the group a minute now, what age do you find that you finally matured, in the sense that what I'm getting at is that, you know, I'm 44 and, you know, I'm still learning every day, but there was a certain time that I just said, look, enough's enough. I need to better myself, you know? And I'm just interested to see what age you were all when you came across that, and why it was that you finally said enough is enough. Lee, what about you? Can you answer that one quickly?
Yeah, I can. It was 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. So 36. And there's varying levels of maturity, I guess. For me, it was, I came across, or I developed the maturity to realize that I'm not a victim. There's nothing wrong. And I need to get on with stuff. You know, I'm worth more than this. Mm-hmm. It's that I wonder whether self-actualization or self-realization plays in tandem with maturity. So, yeah, that's question. The best answer I can give.
What about you, Rodney?
I don't know that I'm there yet. You know,
that's a good answer. You know, that's an honest answer.
There's some days where I feel like, okay, I'm on it. And then, you know, there's other days where I wake up and I'm like, you know, what am I doing? You know, but the key is that I'm waking up. I always, when I'm talking to people, it's like, hey, you know, hey man, we another day on the top side of the dirt. So we have the opportunity to, you know, push through again. And I use this phrase, I'm just trying to be better today than I was yesterday. I love using that phrase because, you know, if I continue to strive like that, when things do happen, that, you know, when you do take 2 steps back, you know, and then you get another shot at it. So let's try to be better again today. So I don't know that it's an age thing for me. I think one of the things that happened was that when you have more than one person kind of telling you the same things about yourself, and, you know, so if one of you guys said, and I'm not even saying it was you guys, but if one of you guys had said something specific about my behavior or the way I was moving, I could just brush it off. Say, you know, Harmony don't know what she's talking about. You know, but if I got 4 of you guys and there is something that I'm not seeing, then I have to look at myself. So that started happening in my life. I don't know what age it was. It was just that multiple people were seeing certain things about me, or seeing things about my behavior. And when you have people that either don't know each other or don't like each other, but they can see certain things in me, then so I don't know if it was an age, and I'm not there yet, and I don't want to ever feel like I figured it out anyway.
Go on, Lee.
Just to touch on what you said there, Rodney, I think people have to be careful with their environment and who they take that information from. So if you're going to take that information from your close friends and family, for example, that's not necessarily productive or worth anything to you. But in a group like this, if we say, Rodney's got this nasty habit of doing this, when you're being held accountable to a higher standard, then that's valuable. But you run the risk, if it's your close family and friends, of them telling you who you are. And that's never a good thing.
Yeah. So I would say that it made me question things. When you hear these things, it made me reflect, not necessarily take their word for it and say, okay, I got to change this. I'm giving a scenario, maybe somebody, maybe coworkers, family, friends, and people that know you loosely that feel the need to just say, hey, man, is everything all right? You seem like you, and like, why everybody keep asking me if I'm all right? I'm smiling. I'm up, why, what am I doing? What's going on? And that's what I mean, where, you can start to look inward. And I never wanted to, I always avoided looking like inward. I always looked outside and tried to figure out like, okay, look up to the sky, maybe you pray on it. Maybe you see, somebody's holding me back, or somebody said something to me when I was a kid, or, I didn't have my father in my life for a certain amount of time. Like I've tried to find all these things that for the reason why. And a lot of it is, a lot of it has to do with it, but ultimately who's going to be responsible for it at 48? Like who's going to actually be responsible for it? Am I just going to say, well, Lee kicked me when I was a kid, and I've been mad at Lee ever since then, and now I'm 48, and what am I going to do with that? I can't do anything with that. I have to decide, okay, yeah, he did, but shit, I've run into Lee 40 years later. He don't even remember kicking me. I've been obsessing about the next time I see Lee, when I finally see him, because he did this to me, and then I run into you and you like, we were in the same class. You don't even remember. So the stuff that I was holding on to, hearing from other people that they felt like something was going on, they couldn't quite put their finger on it. But what's up? Everything all right? Like that type of stuff made me start to look inward.
Yeah.
What about you, What about you, Howard? It's that long ago, I bet you forgot what the question was, wouldn't you?
I remember my ancient mind, as it still remembers. Just kind of similar to what Rodney said, I'm still in the process of growth. I'll always be in the process of growth and learning new things about myself. But I would say a big change, because it literally was life and death, is when I got out of the hospital in 2009. I was admitted New Year's Eve, 2008. Got, I think, January 3rd, 2009. And I knew then, like, okay, you got the ultimatum from the doctor. You basically, I made it out by the skin of my teeth from, being in the morgue, whatever, in the hospital, and said, okay, well, you got to put up or shut up, or else next time you're probably not going to make it. So I would say that was a big change there. I changed a lot of things about my life. Some things I didn't change, but I made a big growth there.
Harmony?
I'm like Rodney. I don't know that I'm there yet. I feel like, honestly, I can say it's been in the last couple of years hardcore that I just finally started taking personal responsibility for the bad shit that's happened to me. And I might have touched on the thought of maybe taking some personal responsibility over, several years back. But in the last 2 years, I've really decided, again, like Rodney said, I'm the common denominator. I can blame dad. I can blame bad relationships. I could blame molestation. I could blame all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, I'm the only one here with myself. And in order to get better, excuse me, and have quality of life, I've got to do the work. And so I think my level of maturity improved when I started accepting that concept and doing the fucking work. I mean, really. And that's just been right around the time I met you guys. So around 2 years ago, 44.
Yeah. And I can't really add anything more to that, because I'm pretty much the same. I'm learning something new about myself every day. I'm sitting down, I'm talking to people, I'm getting the shit kicked out of me, and the bruises are coming and showing up, and I'm showing the war wounds, and then it takes a few days to get over them, so it's a case of, taking the rough with the smooth and all that sort of stuff. So I agree with you totally. But we've all got friends out there, haven't we? We've all got friends and family members that one reason or another haven't discovered that. They haven't discovered the why. It's a difficult time when you can see yourself growing, but you can't see them growing. And I don't know who's going to answer this first, but, is it our responsibility to show them the why? Go on,
Absolutely
Harmony.
not.
When you say show them the why, you mean their why, or what do you mean show them the why?
Well, prime example, I mean, I grew up in the 90s with a group of mates of mine that we were doing drugs and we were drinking and we were being a bit naughty and all that sort of stuff. And I've grown out of it. My mates have grown out of it. We've all individually grown out of it. But there's a few of us that still haven't, that are still doing the same things as, that haven't discovered that why. Is it our job to show them, or do they need to learn their own way?
No, I think they need to learn their own way. I think you can be an example, but you have to be careful with, coming off as, when we get new information or we learn something new, we have a tendency to want to share with our people. And you have to be careful that you don't come off as trying to preach to them, because a lot of times what happens in those situations is your friends will be like, oh, Mark, you just stopped drinking. Come on, how you going to tell me, so they need to see that you're living it. And I don't think, because you don't know everybody's situation, so you don't know what's going to be their why. Anyway, what works for me may not work for you. In a general sense, yeah, there are certain things that you can do that can, help everybody. But as far as individually, nah, man, a person might not be ready. You can just continue to do you, and your friends, when they come across you, they might say, hey, Mark, man, your skin's looking good. You look a little, yeah, well, I stopped drinking a couple of years ago. I stopped drinking. I've been exercising. So that's been working for me, as opposed to going down to the pub saying, oh, you guys are drinking again. You look at me. Look at how, you run the risk of coming off preachy. So I don't think it's up to you. And furthermore, there are some people that are not coming along for the journey. So it is what it is.
I was going to say my one quick, believe it or not, I've got a quick response. Lead by example.
Yeah. So the best thing that we can do as a podcasting community is just to stand up, show the world what they're missing. And show the world, look, this is me improving myself. And you can either join me for the ride and see what I'm doing, or quite respectively sit back and join in when you feel you want to join the ride.
Yeah, exactly.
Join me or be terminated.
Anybody got anything more to say?
Just, I love you fuckers.
I never quite heard it be put like that.
It's a romantic. Well, it's coming up to Valentine's Day soon, isn't it? What's everybody doing for Valentine's Day? I find it's interesting because, me and Nikki for the last couple of years have said that, we don't take one another out for a meal anymore. I buy her a steak or I cook her a meal or whatnot, and we do that behind closed doors because it's a tradition that's just been blown financially way out of proportion. You can go to a restaurant on Valentine's Day and pay 3 or 4 times the price of what you will the following week. What do you guys do for Valentine's Day then? And for the people in the group that's single, do you spend the time by yourself, and do you celebrate it at all? Lee,
I can go first because I'm single.
Go on, Harmony. Go on. What do you do for Valentine's Day?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Do you not celebrate being single and cook yourself something nice?
I am going out with my girlfriend for what we jokingly call a Galentine's Day, but we're not going to do it on Valentine's Day or even the Saturday before, because it's going to be, like you said, a money racket. So we're going to meet for brunch and just celebrate each other. She's single, I'm single, we're just going to enjoy each other's company, but we're not making it really, I've kind of jokingly said Galentine's Day, but we're not making it about that. I agree with what you were saying about it. It's just, it's beautiful and love is great, but why not just do the love thing all the time?
Howard, we're talking to the love god himself, Howard Blend there now. How about you, mate? What will you be doing?
The love god with little to no experience in love. I agree with what Harmony just said. It should be on a daily thing, or that you express love for the other person. The wife and I have gone out on Valentine's Day in the past. thankfully, she's pretty economical. She doesn't like to go like to really fancy restaurants because it's too much money. So we should go like to little local restaurants and stuff for that. But I don't know what we're going to do. But I agree. You shouldn't just wait. You shouldn't buy. I mean, I'm not a great example of a great husband, but you shouldn't be buying like chocolates or flowers or whatever it is just on Valentine's Day. You know, not that gifts is a way to express love, but you should be doing that often, not daily. I mean, who knows? All the guys out there, you may get a little bit lucky in the bedroom, more than I am.
I used to buy Nikki some flowers, roses for Valentine's Day you go to the shop and I'd go into like any roses, any flower shop, and I'd say I want a dozen red roses and it'd be like 65 quid. And it's just like, it's freaking ridiculous. Now, I got a tip for you guys out there, and I'm not going to tell you to go and rob off a grave here now, okay? But what I will say is head down to Lidl's and go in there and because the flowers in Lidl's are like £10 rather than £60. And I don't want to sound a skinflint here, but it's the thought that counts, isn't it, guys?
It is.
And
for us Littles, we don't have a Littles. I'm assuming that's like a grocery store. Here, I would send them to, if you're on U.S. soil, go to Trader Joe's all day long. Or like you said, your grocery store. But Trader Joe's, you can get some really beautiful bouquets for like $15.
Yeah. What about you, Lee? What do you get up to?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Me and my wife have a constant battle because I think the ladies are very right-brained, emotional.
The ladies.
And men are left-brained and very logical. So I don't waste my money. And I'm like, I'm not going to spend 150 quid just to say, I love you. I'll just slap you on the ass and say, love you, woman. Go make me a coffee.
Puts it in crypto.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I hope people comment on that. I love that.
Rodney,
we're going out. We go out for a meal. And the point of it is to just spend time together and to talk. That's all we do. And in a day of equality, we fucking split the bill.
Do you?
Every time. Absolutely.
I suppose McDonald's a Big Mac meal isn't really that expensive, is it, to be honest with you, on Valentine's Day, Lee?
We're off to Miller and Carter this year.
Yeah?
But yeah, we split the bill. I mean, she works hard. And I think, we're a team. So she's happy with it. I'm happy with it. Boom.
And you get a McFlurry.
You got to pay for that love, huh, Lee?
It always costs you in the long run.
Do you stop and get a McFlurry through the drive-thru on the way home as well?
Maybe.
Rodney, Valentine's. What's a Valentine's memory that sticks into your head over all the years of being the love god? Is there a Valentine's memory that sticks in your head?
No, I guess because I'm getting older. I'm just I'm so anti holidays and particular days. We got to take this day right here. We got to celebrate listen, man, I don't give a damn about any of that stuff, man. You know what I'm saying? I just want people to enjoy each other's company and not pick a particular day to get stressed out about it. I'll participate in things because, part of it was for years, I don't want to be looked at weird as like a weirdo. Because you actually, if you have a significant other, everybody's asking each other, oh, what did you get? What'd you get? What'd you get? And you kind of don't want to put your significant other in the position where everybody's got all this stuff. And then they're like, well, I didn't get anything. So, but I've soured over the years on like stuff like that. I'm like, hey, man, today, Valentine's Day is today. Why can't Christmas be today? Why can't, you need to wait till Thanksgiving to have a nice big meal with your family? You can't do that on Wednesday.
Talking of meals, I generally every year cook a meal. I've been doing it for the last 3 or 4 years, but once, I think it was 3 years ago, I left Nikki to do the Valentine's cooking. And she always has a steak because that's her favourite meal. She likes a nice steak and some chips and some peas and stuff like that, right? But I'm a vegetarian. So she was just like, right, what do I buy Mark for a vegetarian meal? So she went to a reputable store over here in the UK that's quite expensive for food. I think Lee knows what I'm talking about. Mike Sierra. We'll just leave it at that. And she bought me a meal called it was a Wellington what do they call them? Those a beef Wellington, but it was a vegetarian version, and it was a beet Wellington, right? And she thought that the content was of like a vegetarian meat kind of thing with plant-based thing with a nice pastry over the top. But what it actually was a whole fucking beetroot, right, covered in pastry, right? And I said to Nikki, I says, well, it's very nice, the thought, Nikki, and I do like beetroot, but a whole beetroot covered in pastry, and I'd done my best to eat it, and the next day when I was going for a poop, put it politely, I thought I was shitting out of fucking my heart or my lung because it was just red, and I was just, and it was just like, so that for me is my funniest memory of Valentine's Day. But I think we've all deep down inside got a funny memory of Valentine's Day somewhere along the line, whether it be sexy memory or whatever. We've all had a funny enough memory of Valentine's Day, and I just like to wish our listeners all a happy Valentine's Day, no matter what you're doing. And I know it's not for another week, and but have a good one and stay safe. But I think we're near enough done, guys. I mean, is there anything else that we can talk about on the whys? I mean, we've pretty much all talked about why we're doing it, why we're doing the podcast, and we've told the world a little bit more about ourselves. I mean, I don't know which direction we're going to go on next week's episode, but does anybody want to, say something before we shut up the shop?
Just another great call.
Sweet. And this is the shit that we do in our accountability group, guys. Once, 2-3 times a year, we have a chat about the whys, why we're doing this. And, I think that it's a good thing for you to sit down and do. Why am I working where I'm working? Am I happy? Why am I with the person that I'm with if I'm not happy? Why am I spending stupid amounts of money on Valentine's Day when I don't need to be spending it? These are all the things in our life that we can be saying, not once a month, not once a year, but once, 2, 3, 4 times a day, and anything that comes in our way, why do? And I know Howard does this a lot. He if there's something that he's going to buy, he's like, right, do I need it? Is it beneficial to me? Why do I need it? You do that a lot, Howard, don't you?
Yes, sir. And I just basically, you just brought up what I was going to say is that. Revisit, anybody out there listening or watching, revisit your whys often. And, just to reevaluate. Life circumstances change. But to answer your question, yes, it goes into it like, okay, do I need this now? Do I have the money? Can I afford it? Do I need it? And then that's, I judge that on everything I buy. Well, just about, but not like little food stuff and stuff like that. But I should probably, but yeah, you're right.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys for joining us once again. It's been really, really kind of you to join us on our Monday night's accountability. Harmony, do you want to tell the dear listener, right, where they can find us, how they can drop us an email, and just I'll leave it up to you. You're the accountant.
Yes, guys, please reach out to us. Don't be shy to subscribe to our YouTube. We want to see that number rise. Also, soon we'll be going live on StreamYard. I know that's going to be coming down the road. Email us any questions, comments that you have, because we're only as good as what you guys see. Official5deep@gmail.com. And then on Instagram, we are official5deep on Instagram. So reach out, be a part of our community. Don't, as I said, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and ask us a question or leave a comment. We are here for you guys. That's the whole purpose of us showing up, because we can do this every Monday without recording it and putting it out to the world, but we really are showing up for the masses. So reach out to us if you need anything at all.
And those links will be put in our show notes. So please drop us an email, get on our social medias, have a chat to us. Anybody that leaves us a review or tells us what they thought of this episode, they will get a shout out at the beginning of the episode. So make yourself famous. Get on the old internet and share the love, because we all like to get a little bit of publicity on, don't we? We all like to have somebody, a podcast or a YouTuber, mention our name. So yeah, I think that's it, guys. So thank you very much for joining us once again. Stay safe, stay classy, and see you all same time, same place next week. Chitty pop.
Bye-bye.
Bye, interwebs.
Peace.